Hey, welcome to the Basketball and Beer podcast where we talk NBA basketball, drink craft beer with a special focus on the Chicago Bulls because that's my team. NBA topics we'll be discussing today: passing of an NBA legend, NBA All-Star weekend in Chicago, Zion's first game, the NBA's future superstars, and a little bit on the NBA trade deadline. Bulls topics: hashtag #FireGarPax has spread across the country. Finally, we've been talking about it in Chicago for quite a while, but it's kind of gone viral. So a lot of Bulls fans are happy about that. We'll talk about that. Today, the beer that I'm going to be drinking is from Half Acre Beer. One of our buddies, Jake Kuster, actually works there, so shout out to Jake. This is going to be Double Dungeons Double India Pale Ale, and it is 8% ABV. I've never had this one before, so looking forward to trying it. I'll go ahead and crack it open. Cheers to you. It's really good. It's very consistent with the Half Acre taste. It's comparable, I'd say, to some of their other stuff. But yeah, it's very good. I like it. Give it a try. All right, so let's dive right in, guys. NBA topics. As you know, passing of an NBA legend, Kobe Bryant, passed away in a tragic helicopter accident crash. His daughter was in there with him, among some other people as well. This was one of those things where it was really shocking, not only to just the NBA basketball world, but the world in general. You know, across the nation, people were shocked. Even overseas, Kobe had that iconic name, and I just thought it was interesting. It felt like one of those moments where, when certain things happen, you always remember where you were when you heard the news, and this had that kind of feel to it. I'm sure wherever you were at the time, you probably remember and will remember when you found that news out. And tragedy happens every day. People pass away. Famous people, regular everyday people, and it's all sad, right? But this in particular, it kind of just shook me, and I don't really know why it did, more so than if it had been somebody else. I wasn't like a number one Kobe fan, but I just think it was such a surprise to everybody. And one of the things that a lot of people admired about Kobe was just, even when the greatness from his NBA career was over with, he was still chasing greatness. And I think a lot of people really admired that and were looking forward to see what else he had to do. And so when the news came out that happened, it was just a shock to everybody. So very sad. You could tell it hit all the NBA guys hard. Most of the players in the league looked up to him, had personal relationships with him. You could see the emotion that everyone was feeling, and just across people's Twitter feed when on the day it happened, it was just complete shock. So blessings to Kobe and his family, wishing them well. He meant a lot for the game, and just in general, it makes you appreciate life. I'm a dad, a husband. My family's number one in my life, and it just goes to show you got to appreciate every moment and tell the people in your life that you love them, and don't let small petty stuff, if you have an argument with a family member or a friend, that's normal, it happens, but don't let that stuff linger. Clear it up. Life is too short to be holding on to pettiness. So if you take away anything from that, what I'm doing is just being more present with everyone I care about and really being grateful. If you're having financial problems or whatever, it's not that big in the big picture. So moving into NBA All-Star Weekend in Chicago, we were excited to finally have it here. Unfortunately, we didn't have anybody representing us aside from Zach in the three-point contest, who didn't perform wonderful. There's a lot of big-time guys in there, and it was kind of cool with the extra long three-point shots that they had added. A lot of changes this NBA All-Star Weekend, which I think is fun. You gotta kind of see what works and what doesn't. But overall, All-Star Weekend was really good. The Rising Stars game was probably one of my favorite moments. I just thought it shows the league has a bright future. It's funny to me that every 10 years or so, you get a new wave of not just star players, but superstar players. We had MJ, and when Michael Jordan's career started fading out and he was moving into retirement, you had Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant, Vince Carter that were taking the league by storm and kind of showing us we're going to be okay. We have our new wave of NBA superstars. And then when they got a bit older, you had LeBron, Carmelo, D Wade coming in again saying this league is going to be okay. We're going to be entertaining to watch for years to come. And I feel confident in saying that next wave is hit with Zion Williamson and Luka Doncic in particular. Those guys are just amazing. That's the future of the NBA right there, along with Giannis. And I think guys like Ja Morant and Trae Young are right in there as well. So the future of the NBA is looking bright. NBA trade deadline wasn't super noisy, which is kind of what I expected with all the movement that happened in the offseason with super big name guys changing teams. You didn't really expect a ton to go down at the trade deadline. A few smaller things. Probably the biggest move was D'Angelo Russell getting traded to the Timberwolves to join his buddy Karl Anthony Towns. I like that move for them. I don't think D'Angelo Russell is a superstar in the sense of some of the other guys that I just mentioned, but he's an all-star. He's a really good player, and he's going to make the T-Wolves better and at least more fun to watch. They got 2 star players now in him and Karl Anthony Towns, and I thought it was a good move to get rid of Andrew Wiggins. Not a huge fan. Not exactly sure what Golden State was thinking, but we'll see how that all shakes out. You never know. Moving into Bulls topics. I was pleasantly surprised. I was on the Real GM board as I visit pretty much every day, and I saw that, I forget which show on ESPN it was, but the hashtag Fire Gar Packs has really gone viral. We've heard it mentioned briefly on ESPN before when we had the billboard go up Fire Gar Packs, but nothing to this extent. They were interviewing Zach LaVine, and in the background, you got fans being loud and rowdy and chanting Fire Gar Packs. There's no hiding it. It was obvious, and you could tell Zach felt a little bit awkward, but he handled it well. But the national spotlight is on the Chicago Bulls now. It's what we needed to actually put pressure on our ownership to make some changes. It's been a rough season, and we've been asking for change for years. It looks like we're probably going to get it now, and some of that credit goes to the pressure of having ESPN and cities across the world hearing our fans chanting Fire Gar Packs. Similar to the Knicks, they're always about up in arms about their owner, and to their owner's credit, at least he's tried to bring in Phil Jackson and some other people, and now it sounds like the Bulls are going to have to do something. So we're going to be looking at a new front office likely coming into next season. John Paxson sounds like he's going to stick around and still be in charge. Gar Forman probably moving into the scouting department more so. But we'll be bringing in a new general manager. I think that's apparent. I just hope we bring in somebody who is confident, not only in their basketball decision, making abilities, but just confident as a person, so that they're not going to be another crony and just happy to have a job and do whatever, Paxson and the Reinsdorf say. We want somebody to come in who's got his own or her own vision and are going to have the flexibility to make their plans happen. And I think in order for that to go down, it's got to be somebody who's well established and well regarded. We can't bring in a no-name person because it'll be more of the same. We need somebody with a big personality, I don't know who, this is just an example. This is never going to happen, but somebody like Charles Barkley, I don't necessarily know that he'd be a great GM, but we need somebody with a personality like that, like a Charles Barkley, a Joakim, but somebody who knows what they're doing as well. Can't be just a big personality. They have to really have a vision that they can implement, but I think a big, confident personality, somebody who gets along well with players and coaches and agents, a people person who just wants to win and at all costs. That's what we want and that's what we deserve as Chicago Bulls fans. So hoping that will be the case. Overall, it's been a sad season. I haven't really even been watching full games. I've been turning it on, catch an idea of what's happening, and if it's not a good game, I can't keep it on. And it's the first time in years I've really felt that way. I would watch the shittiest games, but it's been painful to watch. Not only because we have guys who are injured and not playing, but just it's been so underwhelming. There's not really a lot of optimism. You want to see guys competing, and to me, it just feels like they're not having fun out there. It's obvious not one of those players is having fun. It's time for Jim Boylan to go, bring in a new GM, a new coach. We might obviously have to shuffle in some new players. Zach LaVine is one guy that I admire. He is playing hard despite the shitty season. It's so easy to pack it in when nobody else around you is really giving it their all. There's issues in management and the coaching staff. Players don't give a shit. It's obvious. Zach still comes to play, and I really admire that work ethic and that mindset. People are going to say what they're going to say about Zach, but I hope he sticks around and we can put some pieces around him. I don't think he's the number one guy who's going to lead us to a championship, but he could be a damn good number two guy. So keep him here. Hopefully other guys will model his work ethic in the offseason, but also his attitude in the games. We need more of that. He's been surprisingly a good leader, and we need a number one guy, but I hope we could find pieces where Zach can stick around and be part of a winning Chicago Bulls basketball team. Coming up on the NBA draft, obviously the Bulls are probably going to have a pretty high pick somewhere in the lottery. Maybe we get lucky and grab the number one pick. It hasn't been a well-regarded draft. It sounds like it's kind of underwhelming compared to the last couple of years. If we look into the number one pick, it'll be interesting to see what route we go. Do we grab LaMelo Ball? He's kind of projected to be the number one pick. We'll see. There could be some surprises. Or do we look to trade that pick in that scenario? Depends on what we can get, obviously. But maybe you look to move that and bring in somebody like, I don't know, a Damian Lillard if the front office would be willing to look at trading him. I don't know if that would be a great move or not, but it'll be interesting to see what route the Bulls go. And I think it's important that we get our general manager in quickly so that this offseason can be fully ran by the new GM, ready to implement his vision and go from there, his or her vision. I'm ready to enjoy the playoffs. I always like watching the NBA playoffs. I'm just done with the Chicago Bulls season, as I think a lot of us are. Pains me to say, it hasn't been fun to watch. 25 games to go or so, and there's just no excitement around Bulls basketball. I'm never excited, yes, the Bulls play tonight, which is sad because I've always been excited when the Bulls play. So ready for this season to end, go into the offseason, and hopefully give us something to be excited and optimistic about for next year, because if we come back with all the same players, and we make an unsexy hire for general manager, it's just going to feel like more of the same, and there's not going to be a lot to look forward to because we saw what the result was this year. It's not good. So we need a new general manager to really shake things up this offseason. Hopefully we get some good draft. I don't think we're bringing in any superstar free agent, but we got to look at possible trades and different things that we can do with the draft, and then a new coach. That would be something to be excited about, is if we can get a big name coach along with a new general manager. That would give Chicago Bulls fans something to be hopeful about. So those are my thoughts on NBA basketball and the Chicago Bulls. This is my craft beer. Again, Double Dungeons Double India Pale Ale, 8% ABV from Half Acre Beer Company in Chicago. Go ahead, take a moment, close your eyes, or just relax. Take a nice deep breath. And just take a moment to feel grateful and present in your life. If there's a lot of busyness going on in your life, problems, fears, self-doubts, any of that stuff that's kind of weighing you down, just take a minute and tap into your breath. Allow a little bit of peace to enter your heart space, and remind yourself that life is bigger than your problems. Things will pass, and everything always gets better at some point. Hang on to some optimism. Feel the love, and be well. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Brennan O'Connor. This is the Basketball and Beer Podcast. And beer is good, basketball is great, but treating people right is what it matters. Be kind, be you, and don't forget to hit subscribe so we can keep talking NBA basketball. I'll see you next time.